KT7 up here. Today, I will review and showcase you our Shadowlynx. She is a 70 cost water unit and the third unit of the Apocalypse Festival. Before we get started, I want to quickly go over pricing and banners. She was available for purchase on JP. To buy her unit outright along with 200 shards, the cost was 6k paid this. I think this deal will also be available on Global. Unlike other 70 cost units, there wasn't a 9-step banner for her. Instead, we have the standard Warrior of the Crystal style banners. She is semi-limited, and will be available only in the Apocalypse Festival banners. Just like all other units, the 2k Metal Pity was also available. Now let's explore if she is worth the 6k paid this. These are the items we will go over today. Let's get started. Shadowlynx is a bulkier range unit that can seal your opponent's debuff and lower their buff's potency. Her new main job can equip bow, some cloths, and hats. Her sub-jobs are Ranger and Axe Knight. Her TMR is a cloth. The stats are HP 288, Defense 10, and Crit at 812. The ability is a cross-shape group buff, granting the group /resistance 25 for 3 turns. And grants the user the effect of lower target /penetration by 30 upon hit for 3 turns. The effect of the TMR could be useful, but it is a cloth, which could be difficult. Her HP is the highest among range units at 3442. Her agility starts at 58, which is fine. With her board and support ability equipped, it will be at 71. Just like other modern range units, she can reduce her movement to 2. Her attack type resistances are 15 to slash, 5 to pierce, and 10 to magic. Has a negative 10 to strike, and neutral to missile. Her ailment resistances are 50 to poison, 10 to sleep, and 50 to slow. I run her at 97 faith for the chance to inflict berserk from Viga's TMR. If you don't plan to do that, 50 faith is just fine. She can inflict slow from her main job sub as well, but I don't think it is worth the risk of 97 faith just for that. Next, her master ability and 140 upgrades. Her master ability gives her 15 missile penetration and 5% max HP. At level 140, she gets AoE resistance 15 and reaction block rate 30. Also, upgrades to her job level 12 attack to include restore 10 AP on crit hit. Now let's take a look at her new bow. The general ability is defense penetration 20. Also for Lynx only, missile attack 15, critical damage 15, and initial AP 15. I recommend both the attack type and crit type for her. In my opinion, the Yoichi's bow from the Reliquaries is a better weapon for her. Moving on to her main support abilities. Her support number 1 gives her range +2 and defense penetration 40. Support number 2 gives her agility up 12%, reaction block rate 35, and move -1. Support number 1 has to be always on. Number 2 is good for most situation. Her reaction ability is a preemptive counter, range 3 to 4, and has a 30% proc rate. I think this is the weakest one from her kit. Next, her LB. It is a cross-shape AoE attack, has a range of 3 to 6, and range height of 5. And area height of 1. Before damage, lower target's AoE resistance by 50% for 3 turns, then deals large damage. Also lower target's damage output by 20% for the next 3 turns. This damage output reduction is calculated just like the damage up effect as the Gangji glove. A very good LB, works very well with young Oelde and Faris. And this is the only percentage AoE resistance and peril for the water element. Now her main job buffing abilities. First, her group buff. It has the highest AI priority if she can reach her allies. Covers a diamond shape area around self. She will multicast this before moving forward. The group effects last for 4 turns. Gives them 20 unit attack resistance and crit damage up 20. For Shadowlynx only, restore 15 AP. And grants her the effect of lowering target's type chain resistance by 30 upon hit for 3 turns. The type chain in peril is not game-changing, but will enable her teammates to deal more damage. It can work very well with Faris LB. Next, her self buff. This has the lowest AI priority if you have other buffs turned on. It gives her water attack up 20 for 3 turns, and force barrier from range 4 to 7. Force barrier works against both physical and magic-based damage. Let's move on to her main job attacks. The first one on the list is her job level 12 ability. A square-shape AoE attack from range 3 to 5. Deals large damage, and seals target's debuff for 3 turns. Also restore 10 AP for her if she lands a crit hit. It happens quite often, because she typically can catch multiple enemies. The debuff sealing effect is great against many units that have debuff effects on their attacks, such as Lunar New Year Oberon, Helena, New Astrius, and Raph. The second attack on the list is a unit attack, has a range of 3 to 4, and it is a sure hit. Before damage, remove target's courage, then deals damage large. Her third attack is the low AP ability. Deals damage small, and restore her own AP 15 if she KOs a target with this ability. This is pretty cool to restore some AP after taking out a target. Next, her job level 25 ability. It is a select 2, and range 3 to 4. Deals medium damage, then dispel all buffs. Also lower target's buff's potency by 50% and nullify damage up and haste for 3 turns. A unit like Lunar New Year Oberon has a sequential ability that can increase allies' slash and magic resistance by 30 that will be cut in half. Same goes for the defense penetration up 40 before damage from A2. This pairs really well with her debuff sealing ability. Your enemies cannot debuff you, and the potency of their buffs will be cut in half. Don't forget, this ability has a dispel effect as well. That's all from her main kit. Let's move over to her sub-jobs. Both of her main job sub-abilities are unit attacks, and both have range between 3 to 4. The first one is a 2-hit medium damage, and has a 25% chance to inflict slow. The second one is a 3-hit medium damage attack. Her main job sub offers missile chaining, could be useful, but I prefer her other sub-jobs. Next, her ranger sub. She gets ranger lore, giving her range +1, and accuracy up 25. This +1 range will stack with her main support ability number 1. The other support ability from ranger is focus. Lower casting time for attacks by 150, and increase her missile attack by 15. Reaction ability from ranger is reflex. The two notable abilities are sharp shoot, another sure hit, and mega charge. Mega charge has a 25 unit resistance and peril before damage. It could be deadly, but it does have a charge time, and the target could just move to avoid the damage. The other sub-job she has is Axe Knight. This is a very good one for her. Axe Knight lore gives her attack up 24%, and AP consumption down 25%. Chivalric Metal gives her max HP 12%, and Elemental Chain res 40. For reaction, she gets Willing Protector. Increase the surrounding allies' AoE resistance by 40 after taking damage. The two notable abilities are Axeman's Ward, giving her a 7.5k HP physical barrier, and Shifting Smash. I recommend to turn off Shifting Smash, since you want some distance between her and the enemies. Having access to Axeman's Ward enables her to survive even if she is close to the front line, especially when paired with SummerGlaciela. Overall, both her sub-jobs are really good. She can be run in different styles. The traditional way, where she stays in the back line, or use Axeman's Ward and stay close to her tank. Moving on to the Vision card. It was free to get on JP, and Hard Quest is available for this card. I expect it will be the same for Global. The card supports bow, gun, fist, and dagger. The stats are HP 382, attack 154, and 1 agility. The party abilities are Physical Man-Eater 30, Accuracy 20, and Reaction Block Rate 40. The bestowed effects are attack 10% and crit rate 15. The hollow party ability for Guild Battle is crit damage 15. VC Mastery are attack 3% and crit rate 4, also for Guild Battle only. This card is okay, mostly a sub-card at the moment, but it likely will be a main card when the reserve system is implemented for Guild Battle. Accuracy and reaction block rate are very good. I am slow building this card still. Next, equipments, Espers, and Truststone. I think the +1 version of Yuichi's bow from the Reliquaries is the best weapon for her. It has hate down 10, missile attack 20, accuracy 20, and AoE resistance 8. Her new farmable weapon is good too, gives her more defense pin, starting AP, and some crit damage. The Yuichi's bow +1 should be available shortly after her release. In the second slot, I like the diamond coat the most. It has 15 missile penetration, which she really needs. In the TMR slot, Lucia's boots is a great choice. It can give her a range +1 active buff and 7 agility. Viga's TMR for long-range berserk is very useful against mages. Haste is also a good option, especially Bromwell's TMR for the AP consumption down while haste is active. All the physical espers are good. Ultros can give her more defense penetration, Dark Bahamut for max damage, Sildra and regular Odin are good for accuracy. For Truststones, I like the luck set on the left and agility on the right. The abilities are listed here. Crit type is not a bad choice. Her main buff boosts her crit damage, and she can restore 10 AP on crit hits from her job level 12 attack. Next up, sample teams. The first mono water team I have prepared is with SummerGlaciela and young Oelde. Shadowlynx is on Axe Knight sub, with both of her main job support abilities, and Reflex as her reaction. The vision cards and abilities are also showing on the screen here. Lynx's agility is at 120, with very good attack stat and HP. Her AoE resistance is at 53, and 21 unit resistance. With Axeman's Ward, she is very bulky against physical attacks even without her force barrier. In a setup like this, Lynx will use Axeman's Ward on turn 1, and slowly move up. Oelde will use Keen Blade on her second turn to ensure Glaciela gets both of her buffs off. Lynx will attack from the side, and eventually group up with her teammates to brawl. With the 7.5k HP barrier against physical damage, plus Glaciela's aura, she can take more than a few hits. The vision cards are just the typical water setup. In Global, you can put the Tomb Raider card in Lynx's sub slot for more luck and missile attack. The third party member could be Winter Victoria, but it really depends on the map. The second team is just a variant of the first team. Lynx is pretty much stuck in mono water at the moment. Faris is here instead of Oelde. From my experience, this team is much more stable and does not require as much turn order tuning. Faris and SummerGlaciela are just great together. Lynx has Viga's TMR and much slower. She will be in the backline firing away, while her teammates fight up front. This is more the traditional missile unit setup. That's the only 1.5 team I have prepared for today. I have tried mixed eyes and mixed spear team with her, but the VCs just don't really work. And a rainbow bow team is nowhere close to ready. These are the current weapon type cards for bow users. Anyways, now my final thoughts on Shadowlynx. She is a debuffer and an overall decent unit. Her survivability is the highest for any range units. She has access to Force Barrier or a 7.5k HP physical barrier. These can help her survive against both magic and physical attacks. Her 20% damage output in peril and debuff ceiling are also very handy mid-fight to help the team survive longer. Offensively, she can remove courage, has a general dispel, and 50% AoE resistance in peril. She can also lower enemies' type chain resistance and their buff's potency. Combine those with her debuff ceiling, create an advantage for your team. At least that was the intention the developer has. In practice, it is hit or miss on auto. Because her LB has the longest range, she is very likely to use it before her debuff sealing ability. When going up against a unit like Raph, I really want to seal her debuff before lowering her damage output. She should be a great manual unit. But for auto, it is difficult for the AI to use the correct abilities in the right order. Also, because she does not have a range +1 active buff in her kit, she is likely to have one less range compared to other missile units. After playing around with her, I think the best way to run her is not to keep her in the back but to run her like a physical bruiser alongside SummerGlaciela. With Axe Knight, she is pretty good. She can take a few hits and debuff the enemies. Is she worth the 6k paid vis? No, I don't think so. I do not recommend her unless you really want a water missile unit. She doesn't enhance the water element. Faris and Oelde are much better bruisers, and SummerGlaciela is still OP. Now let's go to a few sample matches. The first match of the day is against Mixed Water and Ice. I am running Lynx the traditional way. She will be away from the front line and stay in the back. Lynx's first action. AoE buff. Increase unit resistance 20, and crit damage 20 for the group for 4 turns. For herself, restore 15 AP, and grants the effect of lower target's type chain resistance 30 upon hit for 3 turns. Second action, Viga's TMR. 25% chance to inflict Berserk upon hit and protect for 3 turns. That's her job level 12 attack. Damage large, seal target's debuff for 3 turns, and restore 10 AP if she lands a crit hit. It also lowered the target's type chain resistance by 30 from her group boss effect. Being away from the front line, Lynx get to fire away and inflict Berserk and debuff the enemies. She uses her job level 12 attack one more time. Damage large, seal target's debuff for 3 turns, and restore 10 AP if she lands a crit hit. All the enemies are now Berserk. It also lowered the target's type chain resistance by 30 from her group boss effect. Enabled Faris to deal extra damage on Howlett with her triple hit. Berserk pretty much won this match for me. Now let's see another team without Viga's TMR. The second match of the day is against Mono Light. Lynx has Lucia's TMR for the extra 1 range buff. Mega Charge is also turned on. That was her AoE buff. Increase unit resistance 20, and crit damage 20 for the group for 4 turns. For herself, restore 15 AP, and grants the effect of lower target's type chain resistance 30 upon hit for 3 turns. This is her main job self-buff. Increase her water attack by 20, and grants her the force barrier effect for 3 turns. Lucia's TMR grants her range +1, and agility up 25% for 3 turns. In this setup, Shadowlynx is also hiding in the back. Mega Charge from Shadowlynx. I don't have any casting time reduction on her. Let's see if her target walks away before the attack can go off. Mega Charge, lower target's unit resistance 25, then deals damage large. Follows by her job level 12 attack. Damage large, seal target's debuff for 3 turns, and restore 10 AP if she lands a crit hit. Then she uses Mega Charge again. This is her low AP attack. Small damage, and restore 15 AP on kill shot. Okay, the last match of the day is against Mono Wind with new Dario. I will have his and Dark Ketones 140 showcase uploaded when they are announced on Global. This time Lynx is on her Axe Knight sub. She start off with Axeman's Ward, granting her a 7.5k HP physical damage barrier. And increase her attack 40% and agility 25% for 3 turns. She will be brawling in the front line. This time she uses her AoE buff on second turn. Increase unit resistance 20, and crit damage 20 for the group for 4 turns. For herself, restore 15 AP, and grants the effect of lower target's type chain resistance 30 upon hit for 3 turns. Axeman's Ward has the highest AI priority if you choose to leave it on. She now uses her LB. Lower target's AoE resistance 50% for 3 turns, then deals large damage. and reduce their damage output by 20% for 3 turns. This is her job level 25 ability. Select up to 2 targets, and deals medium damage. Dispel all buffs, nullify damage up and haste for the next 3 turns on targets. Also reduce their buff's potency by 50% for the next 3 turns. So the potency of all before damage buffs and sequential abilities will be reduced by 50%. Debuff reduction will affect this imperil. She just used the same attack again. Dario is very tough to take down. The rest of the match is just my team trying to take him out. But it will take a few turns. Dark Ketone Showcase should be next. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.